Welcome to Top 30. I'm Richard Bacon.
And I'm Kristen Smith. And here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes.
A growing number of experts are warning that some car sunroofs could be unsafe. Between 2002 and 2016, about 230 people were killed and 500 people were injured every year when they were thrown through sunroofs that were closed. There are no laws stating a sunroof must keep passengers inside the vehicle in a crash. About 40% of the 2017 model year cars and trucks sold in America had sunroofs. That's up from 33% in 2011. Sunroofs are also getting larger. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, some of the roofs don't even need a crash to be unsafe. The agency has reports of sunroofs in some cars spontaneously shattering on their own. The NHTSA says it has developed a new test to measure sunroof integrity by pushing on them from inside the car. Many experts now say that test should be required for all new cars.
Thousands of students at Stoneman Douglas High School will return to class on Wednesday with a modified schedule, 2 weeks after a mass shooting killed 17 of their peers and staff members. They're planning to demolish the freshman building where the shooting happened and turn it into a memorial. And Michelle Obama's highly anticipated memoir, Becoming, is set for release in November. Obama tweeted about the book, saying, "I hope my journey inspires readers to find the courage to become whoever they aspire to be. I can't wait to share my story." And former Melrose Place star Heather Locklear was arrested for domestic violence and attacking a police officer. Authorities haven't said who she attacked in her Southern California home, but she was handcuffed and taken to the hospital for evaluation. The 56-year-old actress has struggled with substance abuse in the past. And finally, 19 old videotapes of Beyoncé with more than 2.5 hours of footage will be sold by an auction house in London. The videos are from 1992, when a 10-year-old Beyoncé fronted the group Girls' Time. With a net worth of about $350 million, I wouldn't be surprised if she just bought it herself.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pedalides. Nicole, there has been something of a backlash in the business community to the NRA.
That's right, Richard. Delta and United Airlines ending their discounts to NRA members. They join a growing list of companies cutting ties with the NRA in the wake of the Parkland school shooting. Other major companies, such as Amazon and FedEx, are also under scrutiny from gun control advocates. Listen up, wine lovers. It turns out a glass of wine a day can keep cavities, acne, and diabetes away. This, according to a new study, and the wine industry in the U.S. is booming. In fact, on average, millennials are dropping over $4,000 a year on wine, the most of any other age group. McDonald's Szechuan sauce is back by popular demand. The fast food giant releasing 20 million packets at restaurants across the U.S. while the supplies last.
And Nicole, this has had something of a cult following, hasn't it?
That's right. In 1998, McDonald's had a promotion for the Disney film Mulan. The sauce regained popularity last year thanks to the TV show Rick and Morty. And on eBay, the limited item has sold for as much as $15,000.
Nicole, on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, thank you. Kristen, you're talking about a lesser-known Oscar award.
Yeah, Richard, the Oscars are coming up this Sunday, March 4th. But one actor has already walked away with a prestigious distinction of his own. Character actor Michael Stuhlbarg had a very busy year, landing supporting roles in The Shape of Water, The Post, and Call Me By Your Name. Not coincidentally, all 3 of those movies are nominated for Best Picture this year, making Stuhlbarg a recipient of the John C. Reilly Award. Think of this unofficial honor as an acting hat trick. To win, you need to have a credited role and at least 3 Best Picture nominees in a single year. This award is so prestigious, only 13 actors have ever achieved it, the last recipient being John C. Reilly himself. In 2003, he had supporting roles in Best Picture nominees Chicago, The Hours, and Gangs of New York. And before him, no one had accomplished the feat since 1941, proving once and for all it's an honor just to be nominated. Welcome back. Now, here's a topic I think a lot of parents are grappling with: cell phones and children. There's a new survey out, and it found 47% of parents worry their child is addicted to their mobile device.
Addicted?
Yeah, and 50% are concerned the device is having a negative effect on a child's health.
Yeah.
And sadly, I think our kids are imitating the parents' behavior.
It is bad for them. I mean, the science is clear.
Right.
As you know, Kristen, but the viewers do not know, I had a diagnosis this week for ADHD. And in fact, I went to get my diagnosis, my results from the doctor, and I took my 4- and 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And in an irony, I sat them in the corner of the room on mobile phones and iPads.
Yeah.
And the doctor, who's a specialist in ADHD, was just horrified. And he just looked at them and he said, as they sit there, you are developing ADHD in your children.
But isn't it like everything in moderation? You know, I mean, because just sitting there
he
on
didn't think so.
Yeah.
He didn't think so. Like, look, I think the lesson is this, and the lesson is clear. If you don't want your children to be like me, get them off the screens.
Okay, amen to that.
Let's move on to this fascinating story. 2 employees were fired after dinner was served at an NYU event commemorating Black History Month, that being the key detail. And the dinner was considered to be offensive and stereotypical. The food included collard greens, cornbread, ribs, and to drink Kool-Aid and watermelon-flavoured water. One student really kicked off about it, and then the Black Student Union weighed in, saying that this meal perpetuates harmful stereotypes and shows an extreme level of cultural insensitivity, and people found the drinks particularly offensive.
Yeah, I think what wasn't considered here is the history behind the stereotype. I mean, Kool-Aid, for example, is commonly associated with Black people in poverty who just had water and sugar, mix it together, and that's all they could afford. Watermelon, a huge cultural significance here. When slaves were freed, a lot of times they grew and sold watermelon to make a living and sustain themselves. That watermelon was used later as a symbol for persecution. For ridicule, laziness, and to call people of color dirty. And there's a very heavy significance here.
So the question is, did these 2 employees do it because they thought it was funny? Did they do it because they thought the audience would like it? Did they do it to be deliberately racist? Or did they do it because they are ignorant? And have they been fired for ignorance? I think that is a fascinating question.
Yeah, a lot of important questions there. And NYU president did release a statement saying that this menu is inexcusably insensitive. They have since apologized and said they were not aware of the menu beforehand. Okay, now to a travel horror story to talk about. Passengers aboard a Delta flight in Kansas City really went through it. They spent almost 12 hours on a plane before it was eventually canceled. So Delta said they had to de-ice the plane before takeoff, and passengers were allowed to occasionally get off the plane for food and to go to the bathroom and whatnot. But then at the end of the 12 hours, they're like, sorry, the flight's canceled.
I look at this the other way around, which is that it's so rare that this is a story in its own way is a tribute to the unbelievably impressive logistics operation that these airlines carry out every minute of every day.
I guess I just don't get the 12 hours. I mean, what about hour 5 and 6? Cancel the flight already.
Yeah, I get so drunk on aeroplanes that I probably wouldn't have noticed we hadn't gone anywhere. Top 30 will be right back. Welcome back. In a remarkable story, every single public school in the state of West Virginia has closed after teachers went on strike to demand better pay and benefits. School superintendents met over the weekend to consider possible legal action. More than 250,000 students are affected by this.
All of us wouldn't be where we are right now if it weren't for teachers. This makes me so sad that these teachers feel they're backed into a corner and have no other option than to walk out.
Put this in some kind of context. There's a quote from an art teacher in this article I have here where he says that he and many of his fellow students in West Virginia qualify for food stamps. And you know what? These are people doing proper, meaningful jobs, not talking on television. You know,
touché. No,
it's true.
And they're making, what, $45,000 a year before taxes? That's the $13,000 less than the national average in West Virginia. They're making that much less.
It's worth saying that they were granted a pay rise just before the walkout, but it was only 4% over 3 years, which doesn't keep track with inflation, which is 3% every single year.
That's kind of a slap in the face, because that doesn't even offset rising healthcare costs either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at that point, I believe that's what started the walkout. They're like, okay, enough is enough. What's this measly raise that's not going to do anything for us? And they had to take a stand. Okay, let's talk about the Olympics. They're over, and about 20 million people tuned in to the games. That kind of sounds like a high number, but when you put it in perspective, that's down about 8% from the last Winter Games 4 years ago. The drop was even bigger among viewers 18 to 49. They're down about 24% compared to the Sochi Games.
Yeah.
The thing is, Experts are saying, a lot of analysts are saying that it boils down to millennials who are watching on a clip-by-clip basis on their phones as opposed to tuning into the games. I mean, the NFL ratings are down as well, so are the Oscars. Everything is going down.
I think also that point is backed up by the fact that NBC has a live streaming site as well.
Yeah.
And when that had about 2 million viewers. So when you strip that out of NBC, the regular broadcasters numbers, they dropped 18% from Sochi. But it's also an issue of traditional television, which frankly we are on right now. But every year, traditional television numbers go down, while streaming sites and people watching clips on telephones goes up and up. So it is. It may not be the fault of the Olympics. It is just a trend at the moment.
I think people do still care about the Olympics. It's just the way they're watching is changing.
Although it amazes me that anyone 18 to 49 watches curling. Just competitive brooming.
Hey, the U.S. won gold, though. The U.S. won.
They did. That's a good point.
All right, Top 30 will be back after a quick break. In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 10 Phoenix, 4 patients from Advocate Children's Hospital in Chicago got the surprise of their lives, a trip to Arizona to watch the Cubs during spring training. The baseball fanatics were welcomed with high fives from the entire team.
To shake hands with the entire team, coaches included, was amazing.
It made me not think about all the pain I have and just worry about having fun with the Cubs.
A beautiful day they'll never forget. Our next story from Fox 26 Houston. Students at Phyllis Wheatley High School aren't just learning about the U.S. government in class, they're becoming a part of the process. The Harris County Tax Assessor Collector and the Voter Registrar's Office stopped by the school to help these first-timers register to vote. Students who were of voting age gathered in the library, excited to express their voice in the upcoming election.
You know, it's my first time registering to vote, so sounds like it's going to be super fun.
Our final story from KTVU. Food left on the stove ignited a fire that almost claimed the life of 79-year-old Lobis Burton. Samantha Barnhouse didn't know her neighbor, but when she saw flames coming from the apartment, she knew she had to help. Weighing only 120 pounds, Samantha bravely carried Burton to safety.
I love my dad.
I know.
Thank you so much.
Proving you never know how brave or how strong a person is until they're faced with a challenge. After New York-based actors Jackie Wynn and Nate Huntley got engaged, they let their theatrical personalities shine in a pretty special way. They're joining us now to talk about their very elaborate engagement photos, and I am so excited. Jackie, Nate, first of all, congratulations. You guys must be so excited.
Thanks.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Absolutely.
So a lot of couples have engagement photo shoots, but you two decided to do something way different. Can you tell me how you came up with this idea?
We wanted to prank our families and kind of like reveal beautiful photos, but us in costume.
It just kind of evolved into like, oh, well, what else could we be? And just recreate different scenes from our favorite movies and comics and things like that.
Well, I think all the pictures are great. I personally love the John Lennon and Yoko Ono one. Do you have a personal favorite?
My personal favorite is the Wet Bandits, because my favorite movie is Home Alone. In the entire world is my favorite movie.
Yeah, my favorite was Back to the Future, just because like I love those movies.
How can I get a ticket to this wedding?
You're invited. You're invited.
Have you ever been to Columbus, Ohio? You are welcome.
I'll be there. Thank you guys so much. It's been so much fun talking to you, and good luck with life. And thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
A remarkable new report says 1 in 5 Americans have more credit card debt than they do in their emergency savings. Most financial experts recommend having at least 6 months' worth of expenses saved for an emergency, but this new study indicates not all Americans are saving like they should be. According to Bankrate, a consumer financial service, 12% said they had 0 credit card debt but also had no savings. The company's chief financial analyst said unemployment is coming down, people are making more money, and they're finally making progress on right-sizing the equation between credit card debt and emergency savings. The good news is that 58% surveyed said they had more in their savings than they did in credit card debt, tying the highest rate ever established in 2015. So while the economy continues to heal itself in America, experts suggest it is important to establish the habit of saving money.
A new survey says the average woman spends 22.5 minutes getting ready every morning. That's about 137 hours a year, which is why we've got today's top 30 solution, an ion flat iron brush at a special 80% discount. You can save time without sacrificing your style with this straightener, detangling brush, and massager all in one. The ion flat iron brush comes in black or pink and can be used on wet or dry hair. It uses a speed-up heating technology and can heat up to 450 degrees within 30 seconds. The seamless bristles protect hair of all types, and it also eliminates frizz, static, and flyaways. The Ion Flat Iron Brush retails for $99.99, but today you can buy it for just $19.99. That's about an 80% discount. You can get this right now at luluway.com while they last. New Orleans has Mardi Gras, the Big Apple has New Year's in Times Square, and Houston, Texas has the Livestock Show and Rodeo. It's the city's staple event, and here to fill us in on the Texas tradition is Coco Dominguez from Fox 26 in Houston. Coco?
Thanks, Kristen. Yeah, Rodeo Houston is an annual event and the pride of the country's fourth largest city. It's the biggest in the world, and some ranchers wait all year to sell their livestock in Houston. The rodeo isn't just about the animals, though. Food, music, and rides play a huge role in all the fun. For 20-plus nights, a massive carnival that spreads over several acres serves as the backdrop for rodeo goers. More than 250 teams compete in a barbecue cook-off contest to kick off the Texas festivities. And when it comes to music, there's something happening every night. Some of this year's biggest names include Garth Brooks, Blake Shelton, Leon Bridges, Alessia Cara, and Brad Paisley. So if you're feeling a little bit country, plan your next trip to Texas in March. That's rodeo season around here.
Well, it definitely seems like a can't-miss event. Thanks, Coco.
According to Statistics Canada, international tourism in the country set a record last year. 2017 marked the 150th anniversary of Canada, and it likely played a role in the record-setting 20.8 million trips recorded last year. The previous record was set in 2002 with 20.1 million international tourist trips. Tourist visa requirements and modifications from countries like Mexico and Brazil also helped bring in foreign tourists. The number of US tourists was also up to its highest figure since 2005 at 14.3 million.
If you're trying to get in shape for the summer, there's one common exercise you may want to avoid. Cody Goff, host of the Curiosity podcast, joins us from his studio with more. Cody?
Thanks, Kristen. If you're working on those six-pack abs to show off this summer, then now's the time to start. But science says sit-ups are not the way to go. In fact, they're kind of bad for you. Research shows that sit-ups and crunches can place up to 750 pounds of compressive force on your spine, and that can lead to serious back problems, including a herniated disc or worse. So how do you get those rock-hard abs? Planks. They're easy to set up and hard to hold. Just get in a push-up position on the floor, bend your elbows 90 degrees so you're supporting yourself on your forearms. Keep your body in a straight line and stay there as long as you can. Start with 30 seconds and try to work your way up from there. Or if you're me, start at 10 seconds. Hey, we all have to start somewhere.
Thanks for the tip, Cody. And you can check out more on curiosity.com. Sarah Jessica Parker is probably best known for playing fashion maven Carrie Bradshaw on the hit TV show Sex and the City. And now she's bringing her style expertise to a major clothing brand. Sarah Jessica Parker, a mother of three, is launching a limited edition children's clothing collection for Gap. It'll be available in stores and online March 1st. The line features apparel and accessories for both girls and boys, and Parker said she designed the line with sustainability in mind. She said in a press release, "I hope the pieces are cherished by the children who wear them, that items are passed down among generations, and that some great memories are created while wearing them." She focused on choosing classic, well-made fabrics that could withstand years of wear and tear, and ideally become hand-me-downs for younger siblings, proving you don't need to sacrifice style for sustainability.
A NASA spacecraft broke a 27-year-old record when it sent back two pictures of two space rocks in a region beyond Neptune. These pictures were taken by New Horizons when it was 3.79 billion miles away from Earth. That's the record for the farthest picture from Earth ever actually taken. The previous record was held by Voyager in 1990 when it sent back the famous pale blue dot photograph showing how small Earth looks from 3.75 billion miles away. New Horizons is traveling at about 700,000 miles a day, but it won't break any more records anytime soon. It is sleeping until January of 2019, when it will explore a frozen planet 1 billion miles beyond Pluto. Kristen, what is coming up on the next show?
Well, Richard, we're talking about plane tickets. Some airlines could start charging different prices for different passengers based on their personal information. We'll tell you how it works. Plus, new research might have the secret to improving our memories. And one basketball player came up with an unforgettable way to pay tribute to a fallen teammate. Top 30 also covers more of the day's stories live on Facebook every day at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern. We'll see you next time on Top 30.